Ever noticed that many of the problems you've faced in life could have been avoided if you had mastered the art of emotional control? Here's the harsh truth. When you lack control over your emotions, you hand over the reins of your life to others. People can manipulate you, situations can overwhelm you, and opportunities can slip right through your fingers. But if you want to regain control over the outcomes in your life, emotional mastery isn't just helpful, it's essential. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the powerful skill of emotional self-control. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why mastering your emotions is the ultimate life hack, but you'll also learn how 1. It can help you gain the upper hand in challenging situations, and 2. Protect yourself from manipulation and control by ill-intentioned people. And stick with me until the end, because I'll share practical strategies to start mastering emotional control today. These aren't cliches, they're actionable, science-backed methods to take charge of your emotions and, in turn, your life. Let's first talk about the cost of emotional reactivity. When you react emotionally, you give others control. Whether it's an overwhelming situation or a manipulative person, they now have the power to steer your decisions. It's like handing over the wheel to someone who's only interested in driving you off course. Think about it. You get into a heated argument with your boss. You lose your temper and say something you regret. Now you're labeled difficult, and it hurts your career. Or a manipulative friend, who knows exactly how to guilt-trip you into doing something you don't want to do. If you really cared, you'd do this for me, they say. And just like that, you give in. Each time you lose control, you give someone else the reins. But when you master your emotions, you flip the script. You gain the upper hand. Let's break down how that works. Let's start with how emotional control gives you the upper hand in conflict. Picture this. A heated negotiation. Tempers are flaring, everyone's arguing, and the tension is thick in the room. But you stay calm. While everyone else is reacting emotionally, you remain composed and rational. That's magnetic. People naturally gravitate toward the one who can bring stability to chaos. Here's a real-world example. Say a colleague wrongly blames you for a mistake. Most people would get defensive, maybe even lash out. But you calmly present the facts, with no emotional overreaction. Not only does this diffuse the tension, but it also shows true leadership. People respect that kind of composure, and that respect builds credibility. But conflict isn't the only time emotions can get the better of us. Let's talk about how emotional control can protect you when someone tries to provoke you. Imagine this. A manipulative coworker tries to embarrass you in front of others by highlighting a small mistake. Their goal? To rattle you, to make you lose your cool. But instead of getting flustered, you respond with something like, "Thanks for pointing that out. I'll make the correction immediately." What happens next? You've taken control of the situation. You've shifted the focus from their petty attempt to embarrass you to your professionalism. And now they look small, not you. Now, let's take this a step further. Emotional control isn't just about staying calm. It's about making better decisions. Manipulative people love creating a false sense of urgency. Think about that high-pressure salesperson who says, "This deal is only available for the next 10 minutes. Their goal is to trigger your fear response, pushing you to act before you think. But when you master your emotions, you can pause, step back, and evaluate the situation logically. Instead of reacting impulsively, you make intentional, well-thought-out decisions. That's the power of emotional control, relying on your rational mind, the prefrontal cortex, over your emotional brain, the amygdala. And this shift in decision-making can make all the difference. Now that we've laid the foundation, let's explore how emotional control becomes your shield against manipulation. Manipulative people often exploit your emotions to gain control. They play on your sense of guilt, fear, or pride to get you to act in their favor. Manipulative tactics are designed to play with your emotions, making you feel responsible or even indebted to the person using them. You've likely encountered phrases like, "You're the only one I can count on." This taps into guilt, making you feel obligated to help and bad if you don't. Or, "You wouldn't survive without me." Here, they exploit fear, trying to convince you that you're powerless or incapable without their support, triggering a deep fear of being alone or failing. People will tell you, "You're amazing. Nobody else could do this as well as you." Flattery like this is meant to inflate your ego, making you feel special, so you'll take on extra responsibilities or do favors just to keep their approval. By targeting your emotions, whether it's guilt, fear, or pride, manipulators aim to cloud your judgment and push you into acting on feelings instead of logic. Recognizing these tactics is the first step to staying in control. These tactics work because they target your emotional triggers, making you more likely to respond based on feelings rather than rational thought. When you lack emotional control, it becomes harder to see these manipulations clearly, and you might act impulsively, allowing the manipulator to gain an advantage. However, when you develop emotional control, you can recognize these tactics for what they are: strategies to cloud your judgment and create a sense of obligation or dependency. By remaining detached from their emotional bait, you can assess the situation more rationally and make decisions that align with your boundaries and values, not their manipulative agenda. And what about when someone tries to provoke you? Manipulators thrive on emotional reactions. They might make snide comments, ask uncomfortable questions, or create drama just to get under your skin. But here's the secret: when you're in control of your emotions, you don't take the bait. By staying calm and composed, you disarm them. Their tactics lose power because you're no longer playing their game. Another way emotional control helps: it empowers you to protect your boundaries. Manipulators often guilt-trip you into overcommitting or ignoring your own needs. For instance, imagine a friend asks for a loan, knowing you'll feel bad saying no. Instead of caving, you respond calmly by saying, "I can't lend money right now, but I'm happy to help you figure out another solution." That's the beauty of emotional control. It allows you to set boundaries firmly but respectfully, without fear or guilt. So, how do you get there? How do you master emotional control? Let's break it down into actionable strategies. First, master the art of pausing. When you feel emotions starting to surge, whether it's frustration, anger, or even excitement, stop and take a deep breath. That small pause gives your mind the chance to switch gears from reacting emotionally to thinking rationally. It's like hitting a mental reset button before you respond. Here's a pro tip: if you're in a heated situation, suggest rescheduling the conversation. Saying something like, "Let's revisit this tomorrow when we're both clear-headed," not only gives you time to process, but also shows maturity and control. Next, take a hard look at your emotional triggers. Reflect on the moments when you've lost control. What pushed your buttons? Was it guilt? Feeling dismissed? Or perhaps frustration over not being heard? Once you identify these triggers, you can prepare for similar situations in the future. But the game changer is owning your triggers. When you take responsibility for them, you're no longer at the mercy of external events or people. Instead, you reclaim full control over your reactions, your decisions, and ultimately your life. That's how you become truly unfuckwithable. Finally, embrace emotional detachment. Not by ignoring your feelings, but by not letting them dictate your actions. Emotional detachment is about observing your emotions without getting swept away by them. Techniques like mindfulness or visualization are invaluable here. Imagine yourself as a steady anchor in a storm. The chaos swirls around you, but you remain grounded and unshaken. Over time, these practices build your resilience, helping you respond thoughtfully, no matter how intense the situation feels in the moment. These strategies don't just help you master your emotions. They empower you to show up as your best, most composed self, no matter what life throws at you. Emotional mastery is life mastery. Here's the bottom line: when you master your emotions, you gain a superpower. You become unshakable, someone others respect and trust. You're not at the mercy of provocations, manipulations, or high-pressure situations. You make better decisions. You're calm, composed, and in control of your outcomes. So, take these strategies and start practicing today. Because the stronger your emotional control, the freer, happier, and more powerful you become. Your challenge: the next time you feel yourself losing control, try one of these steps. See how it feels. And if you want more tools to level up your emotional intelligence, hit subscribe and stick around. Staying calm isn't just about surviving pressure, it's about thriving through it. Mastering your emotions starts with one choice. Are you ready to choose calm?